17.6 at 5:02, just tapping out. Just I got what it takes, I guess. Just got a really bad cramping in my knee, heart rate fucking 160 to 170 all day. So next time. There's gonna be a fucking next time, I'll tell you that.
My name is Ryan Martinez. I'm 29 years old and I'm an ultra marathon runner. After becoming a personal trainer and my life really kind of shaking up and me deciding what I wanted to do next, there was one thing that really stuck out to me, and that was ultra trail running. Now, the way I started running was in about mid 2018. I had kind of fallen off the wagon with all things physical activity. I had just gone through a lot of different life changes, a lot of things going on. I have a great friend, Travis Schroeder, who I had previously worked with, that was doing these ultra races and doing these long distance. And it was always something that I had admired, but never something I ever thought I was capable of. Now, a couple short months after that, that was in November. The race was in April. I had went from barely surviving 15 minutes on the treadmill all the way to running my first 50K on Mount Diablo. That was one day that forever changed my life. It's April 19th. I got 142 days before I run a 50K on Mount Diablo. I went out for a run this morning. I couldn't do it. Got to a quarter mile. Just mentally lost the battle. This morning, I had a new high weigh-in of 215 pounds. So I think my mind is just, my mind's winning today. And I got to stop that from happening. I need to lock back in. I need to lose some weight. And I need to get ready because it's going to be one hell of a fight. I've gone over a marathon 14 times in the last 5.5 years, from never running in my life to finding this newfound love in ultra trail running. So when I decided to do this race, I knew 5 months felt like a long time, but realizing where my fitness level was, I knew that it would be very tough to get to the fitness level that I need to be in just a short amount of time. 2023 was a very busy year. I had lost my job in April of 2023 with our second born baby, who is on the way in just a couple weeks. So I didn't run from April 2023 till just about, April 2024. So pretty much 12 months of no running for multiple different reasons. Now, when I say I hadn't ran for 12 months, that was just run in general. If we're talking about how long had it been since I was really doing some trail running, some longer distance, let's say 10 plus miles, it had been closer to about 18 months since I had really kind of pushed myself past that 10-mile distance. I had basically written myself off of, hey, that part of my life is done. I'm on to new things now. That's not something I'm going to want to prioritize. I really had to start from square one, from just getting the right gear to getting my feet back on the pavement and understanding that I was going to embark on one hell of a challenge, and I didn't have a lot of time. On the way to the mountain now. We got ourselves a nice cloudy and cool morning in July. I'm digging it, but I know it's not going to last. We're at the tail end of a heat wave here in the Bay. Today's going to be a lot cooler than it has been, but probably still about high 80s. So it seems like we're just getting some mind tricks playing with us. It's cold, it's foggy. I don't know what's going on. I don't like it. But hey, I'm not superstitious, because if I was, I would have turned back around as soon as I was getting in the car. Saw this black cat, just saw the eyes and the ears just looking at me. Yep, no thank you. But, we're still out here. We'll see if there was anything coming of that. Or maybe I will be superstitious after today. We'll just have to see.
Just under 3 miles in, about 700 feet of climbing. It's been an okay start. Not great, not horrible. I just realized I forgot my chips and my Uncrustables at home. So, just not the thing you want to realize this early in the run. So, we'll see, but just gotta keep marching on. Plenty of climbing, plenty of running. Cannot believe I've been up here 50 times in the last 5 years. What a ride. My favorite place on planet Earth. Always thankful to get up here one more time. Here's till next time. It's insane how quickly things can go south here in Diablo. Just an hour ago, I was feeling better, not great. You know, I was still riding a little bit of lows, but I thought I had a little more in the tank. 3 miles of downhill, start getting nauseous. I'm sitting here at the campground just dry heaving. I can't seem to stop, control the sweating and consume anything. It's just, it's unfortunate. You know, I had a big day planned. I was really hoping to get past that mental block of really getting a long day out here, but looks like that's gonna have to wait for another day. So I know the two things I need to work on, so we got to dive back in and make sure that we get those fixed over the next 8 weeks, because they say 8 weeks and 1 day till race day.
So kind of taking a step back from April was really kind of building up my fitness level, getting my legs back to even just running at all. May was a month that was extremely busy. I ran twice in the month of May, so I kind of, lost a little bit of what I had just spent the prior month building up to. June was a very good month. I trained really hard. I got up Mount Diablo a couple times. I was more consistent. So I decided that for summit number 50, I was really going to push myself and kind of push the pace a little bit to get up to Mount Diablo. Now, as you can see, that did not go well. You can see earlier in the clips that my face, I got those bad like sweat pores, which is very dry sweat. I'm severely dehydrated. And I'm only maybe about 2 hours into a run that I had planned to run for like 6 or 7. But after this, really started to panic. Did I bite off more than I can chew? Can I do this? Did I give myself enough time? Is this even something I'm capable of? Some severe doubt had entered my mind, and self-doubt is, not something that was unfamiliar to me, but self-doubt and the fact of, hey, like, this is just up to me. Like, if I just want to stop, like, I can just stop. There had been some extremely dark moments where I was by myself and I was just sitting there and just a blank stare, wondering, what am I doing? Like, why am I doing this? How am I doing this? I only had 8 weeks from that clip to race day. And during those 8 weeks is when all of the moving was going on, all the U-Hauls, all the looking for a new place, all the stress of getting out of an old place. And there was just so many different things going on that I had every reason to quit. I didn't need to do this for any, grand reason. I've already ran 50Ks. I've already done all this. And these were all the things that I was telling myself. I did everything I could to talk myself out of doing it. Very thankful for Adriana, who really talked me out of a dark place when I told her, I don't think I can do this. I don't even think I'm deserving of doing this. And I was very just upfront of how difficult this is and how hard it was and how much I felt like I was just undeserving to even be able to run, and horrible thoughts. And she really helped dig me out of a dark place. All that I felt, all that negativity about this, we're going to leave that over here. It's time to lock in. And that's exactly what we did.
When I decided to run a 50K again after, I guess, over 2 years since my last 50K, I didn't anticipate things to play out like this. Life's been hectic recently. Got a lot of moving pieces, a lot of things going on. Haven't been able to train the way I want to. My mind's been winning day after day of preventing me from getting out there, preventing me from even thinking that I can still do this. If you asked me 48 hours ago, I had convinced myself that I was never going to run again, that I was never deserving to go up Diablo. I should never even have thought that I could do that. But as I come back around, I have a fantastic support system. I couldn't have done this by myself. I don't have any excuses outside of my ability to either win with my mind or let my mind take over. So I got to keep fighting. I have 25 days till the race. Hasn't been a great last 2 weeks, but that's not going to shape everything. We need to keep moving forward. We need to keep the legs turning. And we got to remember, why am I doing this? I'm not doing this for a medal. I'm not doing this for a t-shirt. I'm doing this because I want to prove to myself that I can still do hard shit, that I can still go into the darkness of my mind and handle business on Mount Diablo, handle business in an ultra marathon. So I'm ready. I'm back. This was kind of getting my mind back in, running 3 miles down here by the water. It was beautiful. We're going to turn these legs these next 25 days, get some better runs in, really build up the mind and make sure that the legs are ready to go, because there is no option but to get it done come September 8th.
In the midst of all the darkness and all the ups and downs, after this clip was really a very pivotal point in my training, where I told myself that there were two options. Either I show up and I complete the 50K, or I show up and I don't complete the 50K, but I'm going to give it all I got. And that was the first time during all since, I decided to do the race where I was 100% bought in that I would be doing the race. There was no more doubt about, will I show up? Can I even do this? It was, hey, you're going to show up and you're going to be ready and you're going to give it all you got. I decided that I need to run a Diablo marathon. I need to get that mentally done. Check that box. It had been 2.5 years since I had done, anything that long on Mount Diablo. It had been about 2 years since I did a trail marathon, but I needed that confidence boost of, hey, I can go out on Diablo and I can have a tough day and I can push through.
There's nothing quite like getting to Diablo when it's still dark outside. Look like I'm about to tell a ghost story right now. I'm gonna take you along today for today's training run. Got about 15 days until the race. Going out for a pretty long effort today, so we'll see how it is in comparison to the last time we went on Diablo. Let's get it. All right, we got a fit check. We got the Solomon vest and gloves. It's a little windy, a little cold. That's all I got. Definitely should have brought a long sleeve or some sleeves, but the new 6s right here, look at this. Woo! For those of you that know me, I am a Hoka loyalist no matter what. I'll always be buying the new Hoka Speedgoats for the trail runs. But yeah, let's get after it. Let's have some fun today.
Just got scared by some birds. You can tell I'm on edge. 4.5 miles in, 1,600 feet of climbing. Really doing kind of a race day prep. One of the benefits about racing on Diablo is I know these trails extremely well. So I know if I run this section, I have this downhill and so forth. So testing out a couple of different strategies is what's on the game plan today, but legs are moving okay. This weather's insane. Going into the fog, was not expecting this in August. Hopefully this weather keeps for 2 more weeks, but all right, we'll check in at the top. Made it to the summit 52, just over 2 hours. Pretty good pace, but we got to keep moving. Quick refill, head downhill, come back up to the fog. Out here hunkering down by the visitor center. It's bad luck to go in the visitor center, so I've never been in. I would never go in, but I will use this as some shade from the wind. As you can tell by the way I'm dressed, I was not expecting it to be this cold and windy this long. There's fog. I think the sun's barely breaking out, so staying a little chilly, but it's keeping me moving. Got my Lay's chips for a little sodium. They're gonna have my 5-hour energy. We're gonna head down and keep pushing. All right, so we're 14 miles in. Just got back down to the other side of Diablo. Basically went up, and now we're back down on the far side. We're gonna kind of dance around a little bit, head back up on the mountain, almost hit the summit again, but not quite. And then we're gonna turn off and head back down to Clayton. So still got a lot of running to do, but feeling pretty good. Mentally, fantastic. Physically, pretty good. So what better combo? It's really as good as it gets out here on these days. So I can't complain. Feeling good. Just gotta keep pushing. Holy cow. All right, well, the last 4 miles or so was about 2,500 feet of climbing. Right in the sun. Took a lot out of me. Ended up having to use the porta potty for the first time ever on Mount Diablo. But gave me a second to catch my breath. I refilled my waters. Now we got one more little uphill push, and then it's time to coast down. So feeling okay. My lapse time is going to be all thrown off, but my moving time probably going to be pretty good. So gotta stay hydrated. I'm getting tired, but mentally I'm feeling pretty good. Got blisters and dings all over my legs. Everything hurts, but the mind's going, so the body will keep moving. 20 miles in, just finished like all of the climbing basically. Now it's downhill, which in theory is easier, but my legs are shot. Either way, it's faster. I can kind of control my pace a little bit. So we're gonna push, try to get these legs, really understand how long it's gonna take me to complete this race. So we will check in when we get to the end.
Now, just to kind of, again, re-emphasize the busyness and the craziness that was going on, I was in such a rush that it took me longer than I expected to complete the marathon, that I had to run to the car, run home, drive home, change, do all this stuff. I didn't even record anything at the end of the run. But I got the 26 miles done on Mount Diablo. It was like 6,000 feet of climbing. It was a perfect day. And I knew that I was going to be capable and ready to finish the 50K in just a couple weeks. So that was a huge point. And you could see in the videos, my spirit, I'm feeling good. I'm positive. I'm upbeat. I'm happy. The run's going good. It's, I'm pushing myself, but it's feeling doable. It's a long shot from where I was just a couple weeks prior, where I have all the dry sweat and I'm struggling to get down the mountain and I'm walking and I'm doing all these things. So I knew, okay, we're going to be ready to go when it's time for race day. Let's just keep an eye on the weather report.
6 days to the race. Just wrapped up a little 9-mile, 2,500 feet climbing day on Diablo. Keep the legs moving, keep the mind going. It's been an insane last 2 days. Moving, U-Hauls, unpacking, all that craziness. But by no shortage of a miracle, we're here, and we ready, and we'll be back on this mountain in 6 days.
Now, at this point, looking back, all of the training was done. The hay was in the barn. The cookies were baked. And my training had been okay. Either had been very, very up and down from the start in April to nothing in May to June, July, August was really just a blur. But looking back, it was fairly solid training that I was able to accomplish in hot weather, high vert, more speed work, things like that. So I felt pretty good going into the race physically. Mentally, I was struggling a little bit. I felt like I didn't know if I could get through those blocks. Having done this race before, remembering the exact place where I had failed and the exact spot where I had called Adriana to come pick me up because I was cramping, I was dehydrated, I couldn't move. Knowing all of that was really kind of the hardest part of all of this training was, hey, what you had did 5 years ago that summer with, a completely different life of just training nonstop and not being able to finish this race versus how crazy it's been this summer. Are you sure that you're able to do this?
All checked in at the race. Got my bib, 50-11. Feeling good. Definitely some nerves and some reality settling in. But I know I'm ready. I'm excited and I cannot wait to get out there and get this race going.
Heading into the race, I felt strong physically, but to be completely honest, mentally, I just wasn't there. Was sitting in my car and then I realized that I had forgotten my sunscreen. So I had a couple different options. I was either going to muster up the courage to ask somebody and admit that I had forgotten sunscreen before running the 50K, or I could try to go drive to the store, get sunscreen, and come back just in time before the race. What I really struggled with was the indecisiveness of, I don't know if I should ask somebody. I don't know if I have time. And that really just created a lot of panic, a lot of angst right before I was going to start the race. Thankfully, I just asked the person that was sitting next to me in their car if I could borrow their sunscreen really quickly. After that, I went back in my car and I really just sat there. And instead of thinking about how excited I was and all of the good things that were going to happen that day, I couldn't get out of my mind all of the things that went wrong 5 years ago. I do want to shout out to Taylor and Puili, who surprised me at the start line to give me some well wishes and really bring up my energy a little bit. So that was a fantastic surprise. The last 15 minutes or so right before the race, it really helped me just kind of focus on something else, feel a little bit of joy before I was going to head into one hell of a fight. Leading up to the race, we had moved just 1 week before. I had been panicking about the heat. And despite all of the heat training that I did and the great physical shape that I was in, I had a really hard time kind of taking myself out of that and mentally locking in.
3 miles in, just over 1,100 feet of climbing. Broke my first sweat. Feeling pretty good. The legs are nice and tight. The mind's ready to roll. 27 to go. Just hit 6 miles, a little under a mile to the first summit. 2,600 feet of climbing. Had my first salt pill, my first energy gel, and now we just gotta stay calm because the sun is ablazing. Summit number 1, 6.9 miles, 3,100 feet of climbing, just over 2 hours. Time to head back down. Basically heading all the way back down. Somewhere over there. Back down there, back up here, back down to the start. Simple as that. All right, just about 10 miles in, hit the first real aid station. Now we got a long downhill stretch. I got my ice bandana on, even though the aid station had no ice, which was a first, but I got it nice and wet. So this long downhill section, last time I did this race is where I dropped out at the end of this. So right now my goal is just to get to the next aid station, refuel, get what I need, stay calm. It's very exposed, not a lot of shade, so just gonna try to stay calm, cool, slow pace, stay consistent, and make sure I get down there in a decent time. We'll check in at the aid station.
After leaving the first aid station, I knew what was coming and I was a little bit scared because that was the same 7 mile downhill that took my soul last time. My legs were already getting tired. I couldn't stop sweating. I didn't have ice. I was starting to cramp up a little bit. And mentally, my mind was kind of getting ready for me to just end up, okay, I'm going to quit at mile 11 or mile 13 when I get down there. Now, this just wasn't my day. But I told myself, hey, we're not going to make any decisions till we get to an aid station. Once you get there, then you make your decisions and you move forward or you drop out. But you're not deciding to drop out in between aid stations. We just can't do that. Ultimately, the 7 miles of fairly downhill, a little bit of climbing in the exposed sun took me just about 2 hours. I had tons of people pass me on the way, which again is just kind of that mental struggle of, trying to run my own race, but also feeling like I'm out here too long. And one, I'm going too slow, but two, that's just going to leave me exposed in the heat for even longer, which isn't going to be good.
About 14 miles in, the exposed downhill heat got me bad. Not in good shape right now. Just left an aid station, dunked my head, dunked my bandana. Got some Coke and a banana, but it's gonna be a fight here on out. Just gotta get to Rock City, about 4.5 more miles. From there, we regroup and we move forward somehow.
So shortly after recording this clip, I had just got out of the aid station. I had felt, like I needed to just keep moving. I didn't have time to sit down, didn't have time to take my time. I just need to keep moving on forward with the race. Within minutes after turning off my GoPro from recording this, I started to get very dizzy. I was only maybe 5 or 10 minutes away from the aid station. So I did one thing that I will always regret. And I turned back to go back to the aid station instead of marching forward. So for my second time at the aid station, I stayed there for maybe about another 10 minutes. I was trying to drink Coca-Cola. I was trying to eat some real foods, calm down my sweating. I texted Adriana. I said, hey, this isn't looking good. I don't know what to do. So she reminded me that I was okay. I wasn't going to die. I just needed to get out of my head and I needed to keep moving forward. It's about 4 miles or so, but it's 2,000 feet of climbing. And again, we're not really getting any shade. And as you'll see in this next clip, things fell apart rather quickly. And all of a sudden became, okay, I'm not just running a 50K anymore. I'm starting to fight for my life now.
I've had tons of ups and downs in the last hour. You just saw a really low down. Then maybe a couple minutes after that, I was like, you know what? I can do this. Like, who cares how it happens? Like, I got what it takes. And about 10 minutes later, I have a climb. Nothing crazy, but still got what it takes. I'm mad, really sad, disappointed. Yeah, I'm stuck. I don't know what to do, which way to go. Yeah, this really sucks. Not feeling good. Feeling nauseous. I'm dry heaving. I don't know. I don't know.
So right here, mentally, I was in a tough spot. It wasn't new. I've been in mentally tough spots before during races, especially been in mentally tough spots on Diablo. But the problem was I had been in a mentally tough spot from the moment the race started. During this 4 mile, very uphill section that I had failed on before, I spent a lot of time sitting down, trying to cool down rather than continuing to push myself forward. And I felt like I just could not stop sweating. I know that I was having some mild heat exhaustion, and I started to panic thinking that it could become something more serious pretty quickly. However, with how everything went and the mentality that I had of, hey, I'm not going to push it, I'm just trying to survive and make sure I stay healthy, I had quickly ran out of supplies. So I didn't have any salt pills. My flasks were bone dry. I didn't have any food other than the banana I had at the last aid station. And I just really wasn't mentally there to make sure that I was prepared for any series of outcomes during this stretch. And all of a sudden, my body starts to get very, very sick. I start to feel very dizzy. I'm a little disoriented. I'm unfamiliar with the area, even though I've been there numerous times. And I really start to panic and wonder, am I going to make it to the next aid station? Is somebody going to have to come and help me? What is happening?
This isn't how I wanted it to end. Limping into mile 19 aid station. Calling it a day. We'll unpack this later, but I know I gave it all I got. Sometimes you don't got enough.
I started trail running almost 5.5 years ago. I was in a very, very dark place and I was just looking for something to believe in. But I've learned over the course of the several years I've been doing this, I don't need something to believe in. I need something that's going to make me believe in myself. So when I think about what's next and I think about how discouraged I was and how embarrassed I was that I wasn't able to finish it, I remind myself it's just kind of all part of the process. When you push yourself to these kind of limits, some days it's not going to work out. So when I think about what's next, oh, what's next? You'll just have to wait and see. Till next time.